Welcome everyone, and for those who tuned in last time, welcome back. We've all seen those terrible ads for games that make absolutely no friggin' sense. They are usually incredibly weird, repetitive, vaguely inappropriate clickbait, or stupidly simplistic puzzles intending to rage the viewer into clicking on the link. When you download the game, it is inevitably absolutely nothing to do with the ad that you've just watched. Hell, these ads are so notorious that they've even attracted the attention from some incredibly odd places. Well, we've all seen these fake game ads. Introducing weird, smutty book ads. I hope you guys appreciate this one because by researching today's topic, I'm pretty sure I've tainted my feed on pretty much every social media platform I use. To be clear, I never actually clicked on any of these, but I did stop scrolling and read the blurb. From this one short interaction, I noticed that my feeds were soon flooded with all kinds of these ridiculous ads. They all have the same weird, nonsensical AI-generated images or animations, and the story sections in the blurbs are there to be as eye-grabbing as possible. Out of sheer curiosity, I read one, and to be honest, I really wish I hadn't. It was nothing short of a really uncomfortable domestic abuse scene written by either a very sheltered individual or a very badly trained AI. I honestly can't decide which. What was worse, I noticed several of the ads following an incredibly similar formula and style. Here is an example of just one of the stories I read. In a couple of short paragraphs, the main character described how she was frequently starved, brutally beaten, and left for days in a tiny room for an accident she somehow caused as a child which resulted in her parents' death. Then this random rich alpha comes in, because it's a werewolf story, because of course it's a werewolf story, there are always werewolf stories, and buys her to rescue from this abusive pack. We get to add bonus points here if the blurb somehow mentions how the new alpha has also murdered, eaten, or sexually assaulted his however many other previous mates. This was really gross, even this short section. There is no trigger warning of any kind, because of course not, why would there be? Just like those really weird gaming ads, everything is taken to the extreme. Everything is dialed up to 11. Now don't get me wrong, I love my spicy books. I love them an alarming amount. The kind of shit I read and have saved in my hidden read list probably has me on a watch list somewhere, but as John Oliver once said,
because sex is like boxing. If both people didn't fully agree to participate, one of them is committing a crime.
I think it's important to talk about the differences between corn, erotica romance, and spicy romance. Yes, there is a difference. Corn is nothing more than sexual gratification. Corn literature is much the same way. This is not about character development, plot, or relationships. It's very basic. Erotica delves into the spicy experiences of the characters, exploring how these encounters shape and impact them as individuals. Emotion and character development are necessary for an engaging erotica. While romance can be incorporated, erotica primarily focuses on the individual journeys of its characters rather than the evolution of a romantic relationship. A happy ever after is not a defining characteristic of the genre, though it may be included. When present, it serves more as a secondary element. Erotic romance narratives are typically where sexual encounters are integral to the plot, character development, and relationship progression. Spice serves as a primary mode of communication and expression for the characters, often revealing aspects of their personalities and desires that cannot be conveyed verbally. These intimate scenes act as crucial turning points, shaping the overall romantic arc in a way that removing them would significantly compromise the story's coherence. A quintessential element of this particular genre is the achievement of the happily ever after ending. Spicy romance. These stories focus on the development of the romantic relationship. There are still spicy scenes involved, but they are no longer the focus or driving point of the plot. The spice is not crucial to the character's development, and if it was removed, it wouldn't inherently damage the storyline. In spicy romance, happily ever after is a requirement, as this is basically just your regular romance plot with that added spice. This topic can always be taken further. There are, of course, different subcategories such as erotic fantasy, erotic mystery, erotic murder mystery, etc. But the same rough rules apply. The appeal of dark and spicy books comes from a myriad of things that really deserve their own video for another day. But in a horrific simplification, some people enjoy particular fantasies. The fantasy of a man or alpha who could protect them from others. No matter how aggressive or rough they are on the outside, they can use all that muscle and power just to defend you. You, or the heroine of the story, is special. You can fix him, you can tame him, and all that stuff. In reality, these sorts of situations would actually probably throw up a lot of red flags for the beginning of an abusive relationship. These sorts of stories are not reality. They aren't real situations that the reader would likely actually want to find themselves in. I promise I am going somewhere with this. Stories featuring themes of BDSM are incredibly popular, but I would argue that's not always a good thing depending on the content. The reason all of this matters is because BDSM communities are already often mishandled and underrepresented in the media. So many of these stories were described as werewolf romance stories, or storylines featuring sexual domination and submission, but let me be very clear when I say I don't think these stories are romantic or the correct representation of any of these themes. I mean, let's look at this cover. Again, it's an AI-generated book cover, but the girl looks, I don't know, like 14, maybe 15? It's weird and kind of gross, and I'm not even entirely sure who it's aimed at. Okay, so the ads are very clearly clickbait, but maybe it's worth it. The blurbs and the cover art are gross and problematic, but maybe the platforms themselves are actually awesome. Yeah, I think you know where I'm going with this. I went down the rabbit hole on this story, and in my investigations, I came across a fantastic article by Asia M. King, who started their own investigation into 2019 after discovering their own onslaught of these sexually suggestive story ads. What she discovered is that many of these pages and the accounts they owned them led back to a company called Dream. Dream is in turn run by a company called Starry Pte Ltd, whose headquarters, according to their terms and conditions, are situated in Singapore. Starry operates at least 16 other very similar apps. To generate enough content at this scale, Dream relies heavily on authors who are pressured to produce massive amounts of work each month. And by massive, I mean 50,000 words every month, only to receive 6 to 8% of the profits, presuming, of course, that the story gets any clicks. You must publish a chapter every day and may not be absent for more than 2 days a month. Fail to do so and you may find yourself fired by Dream. 50,000 words. That is completely insane. For a little context, that's roughly the same word count as books such as The Invisible Man by H.G. Wells, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams, and The Bad Beginning, Book 1 of a series of unfortunate events. That is a volume of writing that would be considered utterly ridiculous to anyone who was probably not Stephen King. With such a high volume, is it really surprising that the quality of these stories is... Yeah, okay. While some authors on Dream claim to earn substantial income, many others reveal the reality of a low pay and intense pressure to meet unrealistic quotas, allegedly. This is just personal opinion, but I think this rather exposes the true nature of these platforms, where the focus is most definitely on quantity over quality. Honestly, this crap gives writers a bad name. This is not what I want people to think when I tell them that I've written a werewolf romance. Please don't click on these ads, not even out of morbid curiosity. They represent so much of what is wrong with contemporary short-form advertising. They don't support authors, and they sure as heck don't support quality content. That being said, what are your thoughts? Have you come across these ads before? Please tell me you didn't click on them. Leave a comment below and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for sticking around. Until next time.